Hello, magandang araw po. Welcome sa aming channel. I am Suzette Ancheta, and for this afternoon, we will continue with our general education review for the LET exam. So again, we will have 20 questions for today and a brief rationalization for each item. So I'll be giving you some memory tips, some strategies, alternative solutions, no? So please stay with us, stay with me, listen until the 20th item. So we'll start with question number 1 on figures of speech. Which figure of speech was used in the sentence below? The classroom was a zoo during the group activity. What's the answer? Again, the sentence is the classroom was a zoo during the group activity. Is it A, simile, B, metaphor, C, personification, or D, hyperbole? If you're thinking it is metaphor, yes, you are correct. Bakit correct ang metaphor dito? There's a direct comparison. The classroom was directly compared to the zoo. So, this is an example of metaphor. If in the sentence you see words such as like or us, it's already an example that uses simile in the sentence. For example, the classroom was like a zoo during the group activity. So, there you have it, the word like in the sentence. If personification naman, ang example nito would be giving classroom human traits. For example, in this sentence, the classroom welcomed the students with bright colors and posters. So in this specific sentence, the classroom was given the human ability to welcome the students. So this is a sentence that uses personification. Okay, now for the last one, hyperbole, this is intentional exaggeration. For example, in this sentence, the noise in the classroom could be heard around the world. So even though the class is very noisy during the group activity, it could never be heard around the world. So this is definitely an exaggeration or an example of hyperbole. Okay, I hope this concept is clear. If you want to help the other reviewees, you can write some examples of sentences using figures of speech in the comment section. We will be happy to read those sentences. That would be very helpful for the other who are reviewing for the exam. Okay, let's proceed to question number 2. This is on Gen Ed Math. A triangle has a perimeter of 50 units. Two of its sides are equal in length, and the third side is 5 units longer than each of the equal side. What is the length of the third side? Is it A 35, B 20, C 15, or D 25? Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to think of the solution for this problem. Okay, how will you go about this problem? Remember, the perimeter is the sum of all sides. So sa triangle, we have 3 sides and the sum of the 3 sides is equal to 50 units. And in the other condition, dalawang sides doon ay pareho ng sukat at yung isang side ay mas mahaba ng 5 units. So yun ang hinahanap natin dito, no? Mas mahaba ng 5 units yung third side. So ano kayang sukat nung third side na yon? Okay, now without using algebra, you can actually solve this just by trying your options. Kung hindi nyo alam yung equation na gagamitin nyo or yung pagre-represent kung nalilito kayo doon, no, sa algebra, itry nyo na lang yung mga options. Yun yung suggestion ko po. For example, letter A, 35. Ano ba yung 35? Siya yung third side. Ibig sabihin, yung dalawang equal sides, 30. Di ba? 30 plus 30 plus 35. 95 yun. Hindi yun nasa-satisfy ang problem natin kasi hindi siya nag-sum up sa 50. Nag-exceed siya. So, wrong yang option letter A. Yung letter B naman, 20. 20, ibig sabihin, anong sukat ng dalawang sides na equal? 15. 15 plus 15, 30 plus 20, that's 50. So, pwede. Baka ito. I-check natin yung iba. 15 yung third side sa letter C. So, 10, 10. 20 plus 15, 35. X yan. So, kung 25 naman ang third side, ibig sabihin yung dalawang side ay tig 20. 20 plus 20 plus 25 is 65. So, wrong. Ibig sabihin, ang sagot dito sa question na ito ay letter B, 20. So, without using the algebra and all that equation, maa-answer nyo ito. But using algebra, so you will represent this. For example, we have this triangle. A triangle with two equal sides, by the way, is called an isosceles triangle. So, yung dalawang equal sides, you will represent it as x. And yung third side na mas mahaba ng 5 units, you will represent it as x plus 5. And then, you do the equation, you just plug and play, no? So, dito sa una, 50. What's that 50? That's the perimeter, right? So, yung x dito is the first side. Another x is the other side, which is, kaya x lang sila pareho kasi yan yung equal sides, di ba? Tapos yung third side, yan yung mas mahaba ng 5 units. Kaya siya x plus 5. And so you do the rest of the equation, you will come up with x equals 15. So the third side, which is x plus 5, means 15 plus 5. So the answer is 20. So I hope you got that. So again, the answer is 20. Letter B. Okay, number 3. Let's proceed to question number 3. This is again math on interests. Or this is about discounts, okay? A pair of shoes is marked 2,000 pesos. But during a sale, the store offers a 15% discount. How much will the customer pay? Is it A, 1,700, B, 1,750, C, 1,800, or D, 1,850? Okay, you may try solving this. Okay? Paano natin kukunin? Papaano natin yung conventional way ng pag-solve nito is that first you'll get the 15% of 2,000. So yung 15%, pag ginawa nating decimal, that would be 0.15. So first you compute 2,000 times 0.15, no? You'll get 300. So yan na yung discount. Pero hindi pa kayo natatapos dyan kasi ang tinatanong is magkano na lang yung babayaran, hindi naman yung amount ng discount yung tinatanong. Kaya, yung nakuha nyong discount na 300, ililess nyo pa yun sa 2,000. So, ang answer natin is 1,700. So, yun na yung babayaran ng customer after 15% discount from 2,000. Pero, kung ako binigyan ng ganitong problem, hindi ko na rin ito isosolve kasi baka yung iba nalilito sa pag-place ng decimal, 'di ba? Kung ilang zero yung sa multiplication, so ano na lang yung gagawin ko? Ang ginagawa ko dito, nagbe-base ako lagi sa 10% kasi mas madali sa akin yun. 10% tatanggalin mo lang yung zero doon sa principal amount, 'di ba? So for example, 2,000. Ano yung 10% ng 2,000? 200 yon, 'di ba? Ibig sabihin, ang 5%, kalahati ng 200 ilan? 100. So, doon sa question natin may 15% discount. So, alam ko na ang 10% ay 200 plus another 5% is 100. So, agad 300 na kaagad yon. Tapos, i-less ko na yung 2,000 sa 300 na na-compute ko mentally. So, the answer is 1,700. Mas mabilis para sa akin yung ganitong solution. Wala nang mahabang-mahabang mga multiplication, ilang zero ba yan, di ba? Ilang move mo yung decimal places. So, ang ginagawa ko na lang ay magbe-base ako sa 10%. Tapos, i-check ko na lang kung ano yung kailangan sa problem. No? So, 10% is 200 plus 5% is 100. So, agad alam ko na yung 300. Okay? So, I hope that will also be helpful for you during the exam. Number 4. After a 20% discount, a bag costs 1,200. What was its original price? Is it A, 1,400, B, 1,440, C, 1,500, or D, 1,600? So I'll give you a few seconds to answer. We are looking for the original price. After a 20% discount, 1,2 na lang yung cost ng bag na yon. So ano kaya yung original price nito? Okay? Pagkuha ng original price, it's the formula discounted price over 1 minus the discount rate. So, ano yung discounted price? 1,200 na lang, di ba? So, 1,200 divided by 1 minus the discount rate, which is 20%. Yung 20%, pag convert natin sa decimal, ay 0.20. So, this is the formula. 1,200 divided by 1 minus 0.20. Okay? Or you can directly input the remaining percentage, yung ano na lang yung natirang amount. Like for this example, discounted price minus over the remaining percentage. Ano yung discounted price? 1,200. Ano yung remaining percentage? Yung 1 to ay 80% na lang, di ba? Kasi nagbawas ng 20% sa 100%. Ibig sabihin yung 1 to ay 80% na lang or 0.80. So, ang gagawin nyo is 1,280 divided by 0.80. And you'll come up with 1,500. So, wala na yung mahabang formula na original price over 1 minus discount price. So, kung ako sa inyo, original price, tapos i-divided by na lang doon sa remaining percentage nung cost nung item sa problem. Mas madali yun, di ba? Mas shortcut yun. Makakasave kayo ng time. Kasi yung iba nalilito pa. Bakit ko sinasabi ito? Kasi yung iba, ang ginagawa nila 1,200 divided by 20% pa or 0.20. So, mamamali na kayo doon. Kaya, ang gagawin is yung discounted price, 1,200 divided by kung ano na lang yung percentage nung discounted amount na yon, which is 80%. So, be careful ha. Be careful po sa pag-solve ng ganitong problem. Number 5. Mr. Cruz deposited 10,000 in a bank that offers 6% simple interest per year. How much interest will he earn after 2 years? So this is simple interest. So interest lang ang tinatanong dito. Is it A, 1,000, B, 1,200, C, 11,200, or D, 1,600? Okay, anong formula ang ginagamit natin dito? For the computation of interest, we will use the formula I equals PRT, where I is your interest, and then P is the principal amount, R is the rate, and T for time. So for this particular problem, interest is the unknown, di ba? Principal amount or P is equal to 10,000. The rate is 6%. Converted to decimal, that is 0.06. And the time is 2 years. So plug and play, you will get 1,200. 1,200 interest for this particular problem. Now, kung ako ang magsosolve nito, hindi ko nagagamitin yung formula na yan. Again, nagbe-base na naman ako sa 10% kasi mas madali sa akin yon. So, ano ang 10% ng 10,000? Tanggalin lang natin yung isang zero, that is 1,000. Ang 6% therefore ay 600, di ba? 600 ang 6%. Tapos i-times mo yan sa 2, ilan na ang magiging sagot mo? 1,200, 'di ba? Hindi ka na mag-convert ng percentage to decimal. Using mental math na lang, no, makukuha nyo yung interest. So, this is a trick I want to share para mas mabilis yung pagsagot nyo sa exam. Una, kunin muna yung 10% para hindi kayo malito. And then, i-apply nyo kung ano yung interest na hinahanap. Okay. Then, i-multiply nyo na doon sa time. So, again, the answer for this problem is 1,200. Bakit hindi 11,200? Dapat, ma'am, di ba, 10,000 plus 1,200? Hindi, kasi interest lang yung tinatanong sa question na ito. Okay, let's move on to question number 6. A loan of 8,000 is borrowed at 5% simple interest per year. How much should be paid in total after 3 years? So, take note of the word total na ang hinahanap dito na not only the interest, but the total amount to be paid in a span of 3 years. Is it A, 8,800, B, 9,000, C, 9,200, or D, 9,600? Sinubukan nyo ba yung aking strategy pagdating sa mga ganitong pagsosolve? Tingnan nga natin kung maa-apply natin yan. So, 5% ng 8,000. Sige, gamitin natin yun So, 8,000. Mag-umpisa muna ako sa 10%. Ano ang 10% ng 8,000? Tanggalin ang isang zero. So, that's 800. So, ibig sabihin, ang 5%, kalahati ng 10%, kalahati ng 800, that is 400. Tama? Tapos, nakuha na natin yung interest per year, 400. 3 years siya babayaran. So, anong gagawin? 400 times 3, you'll have an interest rate of 1,200. But since we are asked for the total amount, you'll have to add the principal, the borrowed amount, 8,000 plus 1,200. So, ano ang answer natin dito sa number 6? That is letter C, 9,200. Mas mabilis ba yung strategy na yon? Kaysa yung sa ganitong magmu-multiply pa tayo ng napakadami. Pero kung convenient kayo, again kung saan yung solution na convenient kayo, hindi ko in-impose yung aking strategy. I am just suggesting. So, if you're going to solve it, ganito yung magiging solution. First, get the interest using the formula I equals PRT. And then, once you get the interest, you have to add it with the principal amount. So, that's the total amount to be paid. Or again, you can use mental math for these types of question. It will save you a lot of time, believe me. Yung Gen Ed, nasagad ko yung oras ko, yung 2 hours talaga, 5 minutes na lang talaga. Lahat sila nakapasa na ako, ay sagad na sagad ang Gen Ed ko. That's why I'm trying to help you minimize your time, no? Minimize? Mas mapaikli yung time na pagsagot, no? Mas ma-optimize yung time ninyo. Okay. Number 7. Okay. The ratio of boys to girls in a class is 3:5. If there are 15 boys, how many girls are there in the class? A, 20, B, 25, C, 30, or D, 35? Again, the ratio of boys to girls in a class is 3:5. If there are 15 boys, how many girls are there? What's your answer? Okay, I'll give you a few seconds. Maybe 5 seconds will be enough for this problem, right? This is an easy one. So this is a ratio. So 3:5. So you'll have this equation. 15:x. No? Be careful lang ha sa pag-input nyo. Kung ang ratio nakalagay boys to girls, dapat ang pagsagot nyo rin, paglagay nyo rin sa kabila ng value is boys is to girls. No? Kalbawa, sinulat nyo dito. 3:5, tapos sa kabila ginawa nyo x is to 15, magkakamali na kayo. No? So, if you want to use the long method, so ganito yung mangyayari. So, yung value sa outer part, i-multiply. And then, yung inner part, i-multiply. So, you'll have 3x equals 75. And then, you will have a value of 25. So, sa ratio na 3:5, pag 15 ang boys, 25 ang girls. That is your answer. That's letter B, 25. Pero mas may dali namang formula diyan, ay may madali namang solution diyan 'no, kahit tingnan niyo lang 'yan sa mata, maso-solve niyo na 'yon, wala na para hindi na rin kayo malito doon sa paglalagay niyo ng value. So, kung ang boys dito sa class na 'to, 3:5 na ratio ng boys is to girls, yung 3 sa boys 'yon, 'di ba, para sa boys 'yon. Tapos meron daw 15 na boys. Okay? So, anong number ang minultiply natin sa 3 para mag-come up kayo sa 15? 'Di ba? 5. So, ibig sabihin, 5 din yung imumultiply nyo doon sa ratio term ng girls para makuha nyo yung x. So, ibig sabihin, 5 times 5, 25. O, 'di ba mas madali na yon? I hope you got my point. So, ganyan, di ba? So, parang naging 15 siya, nag-multiply kayo ng 5. So, yun din yung imumultiply nyo doon sa isang term para makuha nyo yung missing number doon sa problem. Okay? Again, for this one, 25 ang answer natin, letter B. Can you try that strategy on your own? For example, yung ratio naman ng boys to girls in a class is 4:6. Kung may 16 boys naman doon, ilan ang girls? Can you apply that strategy? Anong number ang minultiply natin sa 4 para maging 16? That would be 4. Therefore, ang imumultiply din natin sa 6 ay 4. So, ang girls dito ay 24 sa class na ito. 4 to 6, 16 to 4 is to 6 is equivalent to 16 is to 24. So, sana magamit nyo yung trick na to sa exam. Let's move on to question number 8. A bag contains 5 red and 3 blue balls. What is the probability of picking a red ball? Okay, is it A, 3 is to 8, B, 5 is to 8, C, 5 is to 3, or D, 8 is to 5? I'm sorry, not is 2. That's over dapat. Again, a bag contains 5 red and 3 blue balls. What is the probability of picking a red ball? A, 3 over 8. B, 5 over 8. C, 5 over 3. Or D, 8 over 5. So, pag ang probability is yung number of favorable outcomes over the total number, di ba? So, anong hinahanap natin dito? Red. Ilan yung red? 5. Ilan yung total? 8. 8 na balls, di ba? 5 ang red. So, ang ibig sabihin, the probability of picking a red ball is 5 over 8. Okay, next question, number 9. The sum of two numbers is 37. One of the numbers exceed the other by 7. What are the two numbers? The sum of two numbers is 37. One of the numbers exceed the other by 7. What are the two numbers? Okay, for this kind of problem, you can do elimination kung nalilito kayo sa pag-input ng value sa mga word problem. Anong gagawin natin dito? Sabi niya yung isang number mas mataas ng 7 kaysa sa isa. Ibig sabihin, maghanap kayo dito ng number na may difference na 7. It might be that one, di ba? Tingnan natin. 17 and 20. Mas mataas ba ang 20 sa 17 by 7? Hindi, di ba? It only exceeds 17 by 3. Yung 14 and 23. Nag-i-exceed ba ang 23 sa 14 by 7? Hindi din naman, di ba? 9 ang difference nila. Yung 16 and 21, 5 lang, 'di ba? 5 lang ang difference nitong dalawa na 'to. So hindi pwede yung isang number it exceeds the other by 7. Yung 15 and 22, may difference ng 7, 'di ba? Mas malaki ng 7, mas mataas ng 7 ang 22 kaysa sa 15. Therefore, this will be your answer for question number 9. Hindi na kayo mahihirapan sa solution just by checking the options. Kung nakalimutan nyo yung algebra nyo, makukuha at makukuha nyo pa rin yung tamang sagot. Just take the exam, use strategies when taking the exam. No? Hindi pwedeng di nyo lang alam yung formula, nakalimutan nyo, ay susuko na kayo. Hanapan nyo ng paraan. Okay, so if you are going to solve that and put that in the equation, in an equation, so x would be the first number. The second number exceeds by 7, so that should be represented by x plus 7. So the sum is 37. And so you do the algebra, you'll get x is equal to 15. That is the first number. And x plus 7, that would be 22. That is the second number. Okay, let's go to question number 10. An aquarium has a length of 80 centimeters, width of 40 centimeters, and a height of 50 centimeters. What is the volume of the aquarium in cubic centimeters? So again, we're looking for the volume. I believe we have the same question doon sa ating last session. But paulit-ulit ko tong volume kasi paulit-ulit din lumalabas yung volume ng aquarium. Siyempre, hindi ko alam kung ano yung mga numbers, yung dimensions na binigay doon sa volume ng aquarium, no? Kaya iba itong number na to dahil din ko naman ako nag-exam, hindi ko alam kung ano yung dimensions na binigay nung last season. But the point is, pagkuha ng volume, you just have to multiply the length, the width, and the height. Kasi laging may volume ng aquarium. Mga ilang season, si Bernadette ang may aquarium. Nung nakaraan yata, Samantha yung ginamit na pangalan dun sa may-ari ng aquarium. So for this one, we have to multiply 80 times 40 times 50. You will get 160,000 cubic centimeters. So that is your answer, letter C. Okay, so I think that's the last for math. Naumay ba kayo sa math? We'll go to number 11. So, this is a question in science. Who is the father of ancient taxonomy? Is it A. Carolus Linnaeus, B. Plato, C. Sophocles, or D. Aristotle? Okay, taxonomy again, what is taxonomy? That is science of classifying organisms, di ba? Classification, basta taxonomy. And dito sa choices natin, ang i-associate nyo sa taxonomy ay dalawa lang. So, i-eliminate nyo yung dalawa. Si Carolus Linnaeus, siya ang father of modern taxonomy at ang father ng ancient taxonomy ay walang iba kundi si Aristotle. So, ancient Aristotle. Okay, yan yung tatandaan ninyo. Ang modern ay si Carolus Linneo. Siya yung nagpasimuno ng binomial nomenclature or yung pagpangalan sa mga organisms na gumagamit ng dalawang parts, yung genus at saka ng species sa scientific name. That is, through the initiative of Carolus Linneo, siya yung proponent nun. So again, going back to the question, basta ancient taxonomy, that would be Aristotle. A, ancient, A, Aristotle. Number 12. What does the idiom spill the beans mean in the sentence below? We planned a surprise party for our teacher, but Mark spilled the beans. Is it A, he cooked the food for the party, B, he made a mess, C, he revealed the secret, or D, he did not participate in the activity? So spill the beans, it means that he spilled or he revealed the secret. So spilling the beans means revealing. The beans refers to the secret. So revealing the secret. Okay. So these are some of the common idioms that you might find in your exam. Spill the beans. Spill the beans means to reveal a secret. Once in a blue moon, it means it's something that happens very rarely. Cost an arm and a leg. It's very expensive. Under the weather, it means sick or unwell. Burn the midnight oil to study or work late at night. Piece of cake. That's a task that's very easy to do. At sixes and sevens, at a state of confusion or disorder, putting finger in the pie means to get involved. Right? So please take a screenshot. This is also posted in our page. If you have time, you check our page also. Let's review with Ma'am Zet. Okay, let's move on to question number 13. Zebra, horse, and donkey have similar characteristics because they belong to the same A. Taxonomy, B. Species, C. Rank, or D. Genus. Again, zebra, horse, and donkey have similar characteristics because they belong to the same A. Taxonomy, B. Species, C. Rank, or D. Genus. Okay, the correct answer is they have the same they belong to the same genus, which is Equus. Yung taxonomy kasi, this is the science of classification, right? Yung species naman, hindi sila magkakatulad ng species, 'di ba? Kasi kapag pareho silang species, kapag in-interbreed mo sila, they will produce a fertile offspring. Pero hindi ito nangyayari dito sa mga organisms na nasa question natin. Yung rank pwede, kaya lang because they belong to the same rank, 'di ba? They belong to the same level of classification. Pwede, pero the best answer here is genus kasi mas specific yon. They belong to the same genus, hindi, di ba, na-specify kung ano yung same rank nila, same genus sila. So the best answer would be D, genus. They belong to the same genus, Equus. Number 14. Who were considered the triumvirate of the propaganda movement in Europe during the late 19th century? Is it A. Bonifacio, Aguinaldo, and Mabini, B. Rizal, Marcelo H. del Pilar, or and Graciano Lopez Haina, C. Luna, Hidalgo, and Rizal, D. Mabini, Jacinto, and Bonifacio? So we are asking who were considered the triumvirate during the propaganda movement. The answer is letter B. That's Jose Rizal, Marcelo H. del Pilar, and Graciano Lopez Haina. Sila yung mga propagandista, 'di ba? Doon sa Europa. Noong late 19th century, panahon ng mga Kastila, sila yung nag-aral sa Espanya. Number 15. Who is the author of the epic poem Divine Comedy, which depicts the journey of the soul through hell, purgatory, and paradise? Is it A. Geoffrey Chaucer, B. John Milton, C. William Shakespeare, or D. Dante Alighieri? The author of Divine Comedy, siya ay si Dante Alighieri. Minsan naman ang tinatanong kung ano yung content ng Divine Comedy. So yan, Journey of the Soul through Hell, Purgatory, and Paradise. Tatandaan nyo din yung story nitong Divine Comedy. Si Geoffrey Chaucer, siya yung tinatawag na Father of English Literature and kilala siya sa kanyang akdang Canterbury Tales. No? Si John Milton naman, English poet, kilala sa Paradise Lost. And then si William Shakespeare, of course, the Bard of Avon, marami siyang mga sinulat katulad ng Hamlet, Macbeth, and um, Romeo and Juliet. Number 16. Due to close family ties, Filipino families are generally A. Nuclear, B. Patriarchal, C. Matriarchal, or D. Extended. Due to close family ties, Filipino families are generally A. Nuclear, B. Patriarchal, C. Matriarchal, or D. Extended. What's the answer? Masyado tayong close, magkakamag-anak, ayaw natin maghiwa-hiwalay. Minsan ang dami natin sa isang bubong kasi mas masaya pag mas marami, di ba? Kaya ang ating pamilya, most of our Filipino families are extended. So ano ba yung nuclear? Yung nuclear kapag mga magulang at mga anak, 'di ba? Kapag patriarchal naman, ito naman yung mas nagdo-dominate yung lalaki as head of the household. Yung matriarchal naman, yung mga female figures naman yung nagdo-dominate sa household na yon. So hindi actually natin i-consider tong matriarchal and patriarchal sa question na to, either nuclear or extended lamang. And the best answer is extended kasi ang ini-impose ng question nito ay close tayo masyado eh. Kaya ayaw nating maghiwa-hiwalay. So that would be extended yung ating sagot sa number 16. Number 17. Who is known as the Sublime Paralytic? Is it A. Emilio Aguinaldo, B. Apolinario Mabini, C. Antonio Luna, or D. Juan Luna? Very easy. Despite of his physical ability, napakatalino, 'di ba? Kaya naging bayani at naging prime minister pa. Okay, sino ito? Siya ay si Apolinario Mabini. Okay, si Emilio Aguinaldo, of course, the first president. And nung declaration ng Philippine Independence noong June 12, 1898, siya yun. Si Antonio Luna naman, of course, general, kung napanood niyo yung movie niya. So, ang keyword naman, pag Antonio Luna, military genius, general, ganyan. And of course, Juan Luna, a great painter, and he painted the famous Espoliario. Okay, number 18. Who is the Filipino sculptor and national artist known for creating the iconic Bonifacio Monument and Oblation in UP Diliman? Is it A. Guillermo Tolentino, B. Napoleon Abueva, C. Vicente Manansala, or D. Fernando Amorsolo? Sino ang naglilok ng Bonifacio Monument and ng oblation sa UP? Siya ay walang iba kundi si Guillermo Tolentino. Sino naman yung ibang mga options? Baka tanungin naman. Si Napoleon Abueva, ano ang title na binigay sa kanya? Father of Modern Philippine Sculpture. Si Vicente Manansala naman, palitan nyo lang yung last ng art, Father of Modern Philippine Art. Si Lolo Fernando naman, siya yung Grand Old Man of Philippine Art. So, Grand Old Man of Philippine Art. So, iyan yung mga title ng ibang nasa options natin. Tandaan po yan na I believe si Napoleon Abueva na tanong ng isang season, Father of Modern Philippine Sculpture. Okay, number 19. Alin sa mga sumusunod akda ang isinulat ni Luwalhati Bautista na tumatalakay sa martial law at pamilya ng isang middle class na Pilipino? Is it A. Noli Me Tangere, B. Banaagat Sikat, C. Dekada 70, and D. The Woman Who Had Two Navels? Of course, eliminate natin yung letter A dyan, Noli Me Tangere, di ba? Kasi Jose Rizal yan, alam na alam natin yan. Ang answer dito is letter C, dekada 70. Managat Sikat, this was written by Lope K. Santos, 'di ba? Lope K. Santos, ang ama ng balarilang Pilipino. This is about social reform. And of course, The Woman Who Had Two Navels, this is by Nick Joaquin. Nick, Hispanic writing, that would be Nick Joaquin. Last number for this session, alin sa mga sumusunod na salita ang may cluster? Florera, patay, buwis, or buhay? Ano ba yung cluster? Consonant cluster, no? Magkasama yung katinig or consonant sa isang syllable. So, alin dyan yung may magkasamang katinig sa isang syllable? That would be letter A, florera. Yun namang patay at saka yung buhay, ano ang meron naman sa kanila? Meron silang diphthongo. Ano yung patay, yung I, at saka yung, pareho sila pala, buhay and patay, meron silang I sa dulo. So, they are examples or these are examples of diphthongo naman yon. Okay, so tandaan din yan, cluster at saka diphthongo. So again, maraming maraming salamat sa pakikinig. Sana ay makatulong po ang video na to, no, sa inyong pag-aaral. Ito po ang aking naging advocacy na makatulong sa mga susunod na batch na pumasa. Kasi napakasarap ng feeling na masaya silang nakakapasa at pag nag-a-attend kami ng oath taking ay masayang-masaya ang mga tao. Mas doble yung saya namin para sa kanila. So sana ay mag-review mabuti. Malapit na ang exam. Good luck mga kapatid. Maraming salamat. Bye!